Hey guys, it's Chris from Prime Health Management. Happy New Year. Let's kick off this year's first Prime Fit tip. Here we go. So I've been meaning to make a video like this for a while now, and it generally pertains to the new people that would be just working out for the first time. So you might have a little confusion on how to exercise properly, and even though you might think you're utilizing correct form, your form may be off just a little bit. And what I want to demonstrate in this video are some of my top 5, let's call it, biggest exercise mistakes that I see when new people are working out in the gym. Let me show you what I mean. First up in our list is the hip hinge. Now, there are many different variations or ways to perform the hip hinge, so I wanted to keep it as basic as possible by showing you the dumbbell hip hinge. Great exercise to target pretty much all of the muscles in the legs, especially the glutes and hamstrings. This exercise also helps promote good hip mobility and is also a good indicator of overall strength. Focus on pushing your hips back and keep your spine neutral with a slight bend in the knees. I see people doing this way too many times in the gym, and it always makes me cringe. As you can see, my spine is nowhere near neutral and it's severely rounding. If you continue to lift heavy weight like this, you probably will receive some sort of lower back injury in the near future. The only time I would honestly recommend bending over like this is if you're trying to stretch your low back while using little to no weight. Next, let's talk about the lat pull down. This is definitely a favorite of mine because it targets much of the lat muscles and can help you get that V taper you may be going after. As you pull the weight down, focus on squeezing your shoulder blades down, back, and together. You may even have to lean back slightly to make sure the bar touches or comes close to the top of your chest. Remember, because this is a back exercise, you should try and focus on pulling the bar down as opposed to pushing the bar down like I see all too often. Notice how far in front of the chest the bar comes down. I'm basically turning this back exercise into a shoulder and tricep exercise. Your back muscles are contributing barely anything to the movement when done like this. The squat is probably the most widely known exercise for the lower body, and unfortunately when done incorrectly can cause some serious knee or back problems. Now, while everyone's squat may look slightly different, there are still some general rules in which you should follow to help prevent any future injuries. In general, your knees should not track excessively over your toes and your knees should not bow in while performing the movement. These are generally good indicators of weak glutes or the lack of mobility within the ankles or hips. If you're having trouble with your squat, I would definitely recommend performing a box squat, which helps teach you how to push your butt back and also prevents you from falling backwards. Any type of pulling or rowing motion can often be another movement that needs some attention. As you can see here, I really have to focus on keeping my shoulders down or depressed in order to prevent my trap muscles from taking over the movement. While having big traps is cool and all, if you're just starting off in the gym, learning how to properly control your scapula or shoulder blades will have huge advantages as you progress in your training. Now, notice how my neck just seems to disappear because of my shoulder blades elevating. If you continue to row like this, there is a good chance you will start to create some big imbalances, or at the very least, some chronic neck pain. Last up, let's get into that ever so popular push-up. A good indicator of overall upper body and core strength, yes, core strength, this movement gets butchered all the time. Generally speaking, you want to make sure your shoulders, elbows, and wrists are stacked up on top of one another when in the ready position. Keep constant tension within your core, break at the elbows, and lower your entire body to the floor. Unfortunately, we've all seen this person in the gym, and it usually comes from a lack of, you guessed it, upper body and core strength. Notice how just my lower body seems to come in contact with the floor as opposed to my entire body. If you can't perform a regular push-up from the floor, please don't be discouraged. You can perform an easier version of this from an elevated position, like from a countertop, for example. It's way better, in my opinion, to learn the proper mechanics and slowly build your strength as opposed to doing the exercise wrong and possibly hurting your shoulders or back. Guys, I can't thank you enough for tuning in for this week's video. If you like this video, please show your appreciation by giving it a big thumbs up, or if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, if you'd like to get Prime Health Management incorporated within your luxury office building or high-rise condominium, please drop us an email at primehealthmanagement@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week with another tip. Thanks.